Welcome to the second episode of Diálogos, Breaking the Barriers, an initiative by the School of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, Riva University. Today's discussion is on roles and identities of Gen Z, conflicting or consistent. I am Meghna Saaf, and the five panelists joining me today are Azwa Basir Mukhtar, Aryasa Sankhwat, Neha Kunda, and Mohitri Sarkar. Gen Z, also referred to as the iGen, Zoomers or Centennials, are the people born between 1997 and 2012. They are the first generation to have grown up with access to the internet and portable digital technology. They are known to have the world at their fingertips since a very young age, and with this accessibility comes a lot of expectations. In the present times, this population is associated with a set of characteristics which seem akin to popular Gen Z icons such as Billie Eilish. They are perceived to be hyper-progressive individuals who were born in an era of shifting political power with the advent of decriminalization of homosexuality in many parts of the world. Social media gives this population a platform for self-expression, which has contributed to their increasingly liberalized viewpoints. Generation Z show vertical defiance and horizontal conformity. They walk towards being accepted by their peers as it is a means for them to develop connections and combat deep isolation while also using each other as reference points to understand the acceptability of behaviors. A major challenge for Gen Z is their mental health. According to a survey, 19% of Gen Z population in India is struggling with their mental health. There is a growth in diagnosis of disorders such as OCD, depression, anxiety disorder, stress, and bipolar disorder, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, which is hindering their personal, social, and professional life. The stigma associated with mental health issues is also making the population contemplate about seeking help. Generation Z is changing the way we look at education and the way it is delivered. For them, education isn't just confined to what is taught at educational institutions, and they do not succumb to the preset combination of subjects. They use social media and other online platforms for learning. They are not jumping to seek jobs, but are instead inclined towards shaping startups. They are ready to take financial risk and are not majorly focused on starting a family. Today's discussion will try and address the aspect of prejudices, familial and societal expectations, social conformity, and mental health. My first question is to you, Mohitri. Gen Z is different from previous generations. So can you tell me why is that? In what aspects are they showing this difference?
Meghna, when I first got the topic and I was looking through the internet and I was going through various articles, there were primarily 5 categories that I came across. Like you mentioned, there is technology, there is diversity, there is individualism, and there is changing environment, along with mental health. So when we talk about technology, 95% of Gen Z had a smartphone. Several studies have been conducted which says that 9 out of 10 people have a smartphone compared to millennials, because they were just adapting to smartphone, the concept of budding technology, they were just adapting to it. And there are pros and cons to it. Compared to Gen Z, millennials had less number of people who were actually, addicted to technology, who actually faced issues when it came to sleep. Gen Zs have got messed up sleep cycle. There is addiction issues, there is decline in emotional health, and there is also increased loneliness because of the amount of time we spend on our phones. We don't like to socialize as that. Gen Z hardly, compared to millennials, our degree of socializing has reduced severely. Moving on to the topic of diversity, if I have to say, then we are racially and ethically diverse. Given our exchange programs across and our ability to access the world, everything is at our tip compared to millennial. Moving on to, if I talk about the individualism and teamwork, millennials were able to adjust to the teamwork, whereas Gen Zs would like to retain their identities. They have a tough time, adjusting among groups. And finally, my final category was changing environment and mental health. Let's not forget pandemic. Let's not forget Russia-Ukraine war. Let's not forget crashing economy or even global warming. These have got a drastic effect on how we have been shaped up, how we have been growing up, and how our ideologies and values are changing. I mean, we are doing things for ourselves, hoping that we are also going to contribute to the environment. We are going to give our bit to the earth. And mental health, compared to millennials, our mental health rates have decreased. The stability has decreased. The self-injury, attempt to suicide, these levels have also drastically increased. We are reporting more, we're talking more about our mental health, which is a plus. But also, while we are talking, we get to see that there are a lot more issues compared to millennials. There is anxiety, there's depression among the other mental disorders.
So I think and Worthy correctly mentioned that the way we socialize is changing. We don't do it physically anymore. We have taken it online. Does anybody have any else to say?
Yeah, as Voiti pointed out in her last point, like we cannot forget that we faced a little pandemic, like something that like generations before us haven't gone through. And in that pandemic, we had access to the internet, and let's be honest, we had unsupervised access to the internet. Okay, so and we like how she said we connected on a global level, so we were so acquainted to seeing each other through screens and meeting virtually and connecting virtually. It's so hard to go back to the normal life. And our generation, especially who has like the social anxiety, we don't like groups, we don't like people, we don't like to go out and socialize. That kind of helped us communicate better. And then, but when it came to real life, they're just like, how do I talk to somebody? What do I do? How do I go order my food? We are scared to order our food.
And more than that, it seems like it has been seen that post-COVID, when we actually started going to workplaces or educational places, we were genuinely very tired. Like our energy levels were dropping like anything. We were not able to perform that well compared to pre-COVID era.
Yeah, I remember. I
think we were in that comfort zone and suddenly thrown open. Yeah, like we used to open our Zoom calls and then just
yeah, I don't want to attend classes, just close the laptop and go to bed. Bye.
Okay, so moving on from that, Adyasa, the next question is for you. In the recent decade, we have seen the youth trying to make a spot for themselves in the world as you're talking about identity. So why do you think it is so important for Gen Z to have an identity for themselves?
So I feel like the concept of identity, we as generation, we take it very seriously. As well, we kind of like very focused on this one aspect called right to be yourself. So because we have seen generations before us conforming to the social norms, not being they're not being themselves, and they were not given the agency to be themselves or choose what they want to. But in our generation, we kind of how we say breaking the generational drama. We chose to choose things that we like, that represent us. It's like identity. I'm talking about labels also, and our identity digitally. So we are very active on our social media, be it Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, anything. And we have our pronouns: he, him, she, her, she, they. So it's people are diversifying. People are saying, let's not look at it in a binary perspective. We have so many other people types, how they feel, how they want to be represented. So that's when I chose my identity. But most of the time we do get confused. We take labels too seriously, or either we don't use them at all.
I think that is something that is a talk of the town, that do you want to be identified seriously, or do you don't want labels at all? You are telling pronouns also, but you don't want them also. So where do we stand?
I know. It's like we want to make our own choices. We are making new labels as we go, but we are also disregarding the labels that are already there. And it's like we don't add them at all. Which is also, it becomes a little problematic, but we need to understand that we are also the first one doing this. We didn't know what were people doing before that, and they struggled because of it. So we picked this fight for our generation where we'll have to present ourselves. But this also makes our generation a little more empathetic to other people and their problems. we have this concept of being non-binary. We did not have that. So now people in my class and people I know, they're very, open to this idea that, okay, you don't want to stick to a certain gender norm, you can just, be, okay, non-binary. We will respect that. So it's like respecting the difference. That is something that our generation is doing. We are trying to respect the difference.
And there is a very thin line between acknowledging your identity and exploiting it. Like the talk of the town, like you said, there are people who never got the opportunity to actually tell people that this is how I identify myself, which is absolutely fine, which is more than welcome. We are acknowledging it. But again, you see the fine line between people who are exploiting it, taking advantage of it, victimizing themselves. That is another issue that we have to combat. And we are actually, one step at a time. We are going through different things. We are identifying that this is a fawn, this is a bro, and then we are moving forward.
I think that is what we were telling, that why we want labels, we also want to defy them. So we are trying to make space for everybody, but in the meantime, I think we are all confused.
Just figuring it out.
Yeah, I think learning along the way, because we are the first ones after all.
Because we never got the, I won't say women as such, that it depends upon where you are living, your demography and all that. But we did not get the chance to make an identity for ourselves, which we are doing it in this generation. We are ready to move out from a place if we are unhappy. Happiness for us is very important and it is a concept for us. Earlier it was, if you are not happy, you make do with it, you adjust to it. But now we are strict. We are legit that if I'm not happy, I'm not going to do this. I'm ready to start all over again. I think that is very important and that is something that we are doing great on an aspect.
I think the fight here that Gen Z is fighting right now is whether they want their unique individuality or to go with the social norms, because we are the very first generation trying to be individuals, whereas everybody else were just going along with the social norms in the previous generations. So that's a fight there.
It's definitely true.
So my next question is to Neha. As we are talking about identities and being on social media, do you think the growth of technology and social media is beneficial for Gen Z, or do you think it is hampering their lifestyle? So when we're talking about technological developments, we've seen tremendous growth in technology. From millennials to Gen Z, there's a huge growth. And Generation Z, the Gen Z is considered the first true generation of digital natives, right? So we've seen there's been evolution from Yahoo to now Discord and ChatGPT, which has recently come up. So there's been tremendous growth, as we've seen. And Gen Z, they've been using technology, or they've been exposed to technology since their birth. So they do not know a world where there is no technology or internet that is not round the clock. So every teenager, like Moitri has mentioned, they own a smartphone or they have access to internet. Also nowadays, kids get toys that are digital. So when we were kids, we had different, there was just the coming of those digital toys, but we were not completely exposed to those. But from 2010, there've been more digitalized toys. So digital, or the digital technology has been integrated into our lives so much. So with this comes the point that, the technological developments have been aiding our Generation Z to express themselves, to put up their identities. It is giving them a platform, to showcase their identities. Because in a research, it was shown that 75% of the teenagers, this was in US, the teenagers, they think that self-expression is very important to them. So this social media has given them a platform to, express themselves without facing any issues or any restrictions. With also technology has given them vast exposure to information that we're all aware of. Also, it's not just getting exposed to information, but also creating information and sharing their ideas, which is very important to Generation Z, because they want a voice, they want to voice out their opinions and they want it to be heard. So that is an advantage given. Also, this one survey I came up across, it was saying that the teenagers who were in the survey, they think that they are their most authentic self in online rather than offline. So we can see how the technology, when they're online, they can be themselves. So that has been there. But when we come to this, it also creates the, there are two sides of a coin, obviously.
So, but constantly expressing yourself, it also creates a pressure for them to put their most perfect self. So they constantly seek validation. They want to be their perfect. So we have these filters and all. Even though they say it's the authentic self, but we use filters. We use a lot of filters, not just the Snapchat filters, but also when we're speaking. I don't think we can ever speak our honest opinions there because we always think, "Ki, maybe I'll get judged upon this or that." So there's this always conscious thought running in our mind. And also this constant seek for validation from the peers that is obviously hindering them. And this will take a lot of toll on their mental health. Also, we cannot truly ignore the point of cyberbullying. So if you're putting a point across, if it's not accepted by somebody, they instantly put a comment. Like how you are able to put the message, they are also able to put the message in a very quick fashion. So again, this brings to the point of cyberbullying. And this obviously will take a toll on their mental health. Like their self-esteem will take a toll on it. Also, because of this, maybe they can get we cannot rule out the possibility of smartphone addiction and body dysmorphic disorders. All these are a point we cannot ignore when we're talking about technology. So I can see maybe how like technology has improved and how it has benefited them. It is also pulling them down.
Yeah. Okay. So you brought in a lot of concepts of judgment and validation, and I think it's very relevant at the present time because we are so exposed to content from everywhere that we don't know if we have to take this or that, or even if we are taking in towards content, which do we pay more attention to it? So I think this, you said 75% are using it for self-expression, but I think the other 25% is it's just hampering their lifestyle where they're like, what do I want to?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to, accept a concept that because of social media, we are accepting a concept right away, or with the cancel culture, we are canceling it right away. The controversies, the viral trends, they are two sides of the coins, positive and negative. And also, too much of it is causing self-esteem issues as well. Like the viral trends. During COVID only, we came across so many trends. Some of them were really harmful. And people ended up going to the emergency rooms and all that. Because we were so into social media because we did not have any other place to go or anything else to do, that we ended up, even though we wanted to do something that is entertaining, we ended up hurting ourselves. We ended up hurting ourselves both physically and emotionally.
Just for the sake of likes and the validation on social media.
I would like to pick up a point that you said about teenagers being very authentic online and then not able to express attitudes offline. So this this concept is again related to validation and likes and dislikes. So but internet at this point of time, you can put anything, whatever you think, you can just put on internet. Either people will like it, either people will not. And if people may also accept it as some kind of humor. So I don't know if you guys know that there's this concept of whisper memes. Like first deranged thoughts on internet, and people are like, oh, this is so me, this is and this is okay, this is very concerning. You don't
The space to express.
Fad culture. You're showing on the internet that you're binge eating McDonald's burgers after McDonald's burgers. It's not normal.
I think we don't realize that what you show on social media is not your everyday lifestyle. It's just a part of your life. So I think that is what we have to.
I have seen several people doing several fat culture trends, eating burgers after burgers, tacos after tacos, and saying what are eating breakfast. You don't eat 21 burgers in breakfast. It's wrong. You need help. And they're promoting that. There are 100,000 views on that. And we're watching that, and then we're questioning ourselves. Oh my God, she's so thin, but look at the way she's eating. I wish I could do that. It's wrong, but I'm still thinking in that way. That each tiny bit of thought is coming.
The constant comparison, you need to compare with what is shown, ideal image on social media.
Even social media stars, for that matter, they are all living their lives in LA. They are eating away but they are doing something that they're not showing on the internet. Of course, they're on strict diets. Of course, they're going on workouts every day. They're running maybe miles after miles, but they're not showing it on the internet. All we are seeing is that bagel, and then we're like, oh my God, look at that body, and she's eating a bagel. And I get fat, I gain weight just by drinking water. It's not fair.
It's like a very thin line that you have to draw for yourself, where to stop relating everything with social media and start having, and your own thought process about the.
How much I want to observe and how much I want to let go.
So I think we tapped into a lot of concepts here. My last question is for Azwa. So as we are talking, the biggest concern today is their mental health. So how do you think that social media, societal expectations, or even education for that matter is affecting their mental health?
I guess this question is a bit conclusive because all of us went with a topic where we concluded with mental health being affected of Gen Z. So the effects of social media and societal expectations along with education that's affecting the mental health of Gen Z would be the concepts, like the elements that are like majorly brought out in these three sections of life. So firstly, with social media, we have a lot of image centric influence. Like everybody these days, all of the Gen Z, they treat social media like Instagram or Facebook and Snapchat as their social portfolio. Like Snapchat is being treated like a vlog. You snap everything you do everywhere you go. So your lifestyle is being put up there in front of people. So everybody does not have the same lifestyle. Somebody are more financially wealthy, some of them are not. So this constant comparison that we earlier spoke about, the constant comparison leads to like people having social anxiety. So let's say I already know this person from their social portfolio, which is from social media like Instagram. So this person is going out every day, they are doing things every day. So when I meet this person in real life, I would have the anxiety and the constant comparison and the low self-esteem to be able to communicate with them. So that anxiety in like Gen Z is in general anxious, and this is one of the reasons for it. And then we go with things like beauty standards. So Gen Z is really struggling with whether to be individual or go with the standards that are, again, created by Gen Z themselves. So social media is playing a huge, huge role here by, creating an image or creating what is normal or creating something what's acceptable or something that's more admirable than the usual. So this constant comparison leads to a lot of mental health issues. So like body dysmorphia again. So there's people that are not eating, there's people that are eating a lot and things like that. Why? Because, the lifestyle that's being put up there. So how you dress, what you do, all of that is being influenced at once, which again, affects the mental health. So going on with societal expectations. So we see that societal expectations and education have something in common that affects our mental health badly, which is, everything surrounding achievements. People out there, they talk about, Sharma ji ka beta concept. So, the parents and the society always talking about, oh, look, Sharma ji ka beta has done a degree in engineering. What are you doing studying arts and things like that? So we always have this, we don't have the space to express ourselves and be who we want just because the happenings and the achievements of people's lives are like spread all across. So all of this together again causes suicidal rates and things that people don't feel fit enough. I'm not fit enough being here, or like I don't fit in this generation. I don't fit in my surroundings or my environment. So that's how there's bad mental health in most of the Gen Z. Yeah, so that was
when we talk about social media and mental health, there is something that we are observing the content and then we relate it too much to it. Like she said that, achievements. Not everybody can be achieving the same thing as me, or I won't be achieving the same thing as everybody. But there is a constant competition, even with a person I'm not aware of. I'm constantly competing to achieve more, be it academically, be it socially. This person went to a party, oh, what am I doing? This person got 3 degrees, oh, what am I doing? And it is so real that you feel so invalidated doing that.
And yeah, I think that is very true because I look at weekend posts with celebrities or even my classmates, and I'm like, oh my God, why am I sitting at home? Why are these people going out? So that's a constant pressure that are you supposed to be like this, or is it okay the way you are?
And we being so accessible to the world, people are flying out of the country every second of the day. And then we are in our beds, in our hostel beds, and we are just covered in our blanket, and you're like, oh, snowfall in Canada, nice.
Yes, it's like our generation, because of internet, there's a lot of fluidity. It's like, let it flow, like, go with the flow. Like, these concepts are very, important to us and very, popular among us. So with fluidity, also, you can just flow anywhere. If you don't hold on to certain concepts or certain thought process that you believe in, if you don't hold on to those, it's very easy to just, flow away and have your downfall. Because like she said, we have everything on social media. Somebody is getting married. Somebody's getting a new degree. Somebody's getting a new car. People are going to concerts. Somebody's getting a new baby. People are, going to concerts, parties. And we, in that age group, are like, oh my God, why am I here? Okay, it's like, एक party तो मैं भी deserve करती हूँ.
Like a constant knocking in that why so I should also have this. And at that moment we forget that we are so dynamically different. Like our foundations are so very different. Even like it's a very basic example. We come to college, everybody's from a different dynamic. Everybody's from a different background. Not one person is same. Some people have different culture, religion. Some people have different countries altogether. But yet when somebody is doing the same thing as me, there is a question mark in my face or in my mind that what am I doing wrong? That is also because of the accessibility that we have. We can see. And the thing is, there's no one to verify social media. What we are seeing, whether it is correct or not, whether actually there is somebody who's earning millions of money every second, there's nobody to verify. But it's on the internet and we are seeing it, and then our self-esteem is getting hampered. And mental health issues are very real. But with, again, social media, see, you never can get over the debate, whether it is good or bad. It's a never-ending topic. Because if I say that, it is causing self-esteem, on the other hand, I can also say that people are coming out with their mental health issues through social media. You see a lot of posts where people are putting it up so that other people can see supported, that you're not alone in this journey. And it really helps us.
I think, again, it comes down to the question of how you use it and how much you absorb, because we did have celebrities come on and say, I also suffered with this. And then there was more acceptance in the society where we look up to them and they have also gone through this. So I think that acceptance comes with knowing how to use a certain platform.
As Gen Z, we have the accessibility and we also have the ability to choose. And what we choose really makes a difference, whether we are breaking the generational trauma or we are just falling deep into another whole different trauma.
So I think we couldn't have ended with a better question than that. So I would reach a conclusion here because we are a little shorter time. So the discussion today has pointed out the differences between Gen Z and the generations that have preceded them. We have established that it is not easy for the present generation to fulfill all their roles and the societal expectations while also establishing an identity for themselves. The population is doing their best to live up to all those expectations in their own way instead of succumbing to the rules of the society. This defiant nature of Gen Z is what leads to the conflicting role of them in the society, but with the coming of Gen Alpha, with Gen Z becoming parents in the near future and occupying majority part of the society, the do's and don'ts of the world are going to change, and it is definitely going to be more accommodative and accepting. So we, as a part of Generation Z, look forward to welcoming new ideas in the coming years, dissolve the discriminatory practices in the society, and establish a bright future for ourselves. Thank you.